comes to talk. It's 4:20 a.m. here on the East Coast, and I want to talk about what these Congress people did. Two of them are deep state people, CIA and intelligence people, rest military veterans. This was, Trump derangement syndrome. The Trump derangement syndrome. There was an article yesterday, and this is what I'm going to open with today. Welcome, everyone. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. This is what I'm going to open with today on the main program, on the mainstream, in about an hour or so. So you guys get a little sneak preview of what I'm going to open with. There was an article yesterday or the day before, and there's some updates on it today, that the Bush dynasty are making a move to take over the Republican Party from the Trumps after this second non-consecutive term of the president. And what happened with these Congress people, the former military and CIA people that made that video about the military not following unlawful orders, Trump derangement syndrome people in Washington are consumed and obsessed with this and have been for a decade. And what's happened is, Trump derangement syndrome is hatred, complete hatred. And hatred is, has an intoxifying effect on the mind. It impairs your ability to think clearly. And they screwed up with this thing, okay? They screwed up. And like everything else these Trump haters do, in the end, they're helping Trump. And what they did was of an attempt to cause distrust and a possible coup within our military. Gotta sneeze, guys. Ugh. Sorry. My allergies are kicking in today. And because they live in this Trump derangement syndrome bubble where everyone hates Trump in this bubble, and they all have Trump derangement syndrome, their thinking is clouded, and they didn't think this thing through clearly. And they made a big mistake making that video. What they did is what the deep state does in other countries, right? They cause political disunity, political corruption, revolutions. They're trying to start a revolution against President Trump. And in that chaos, bring the Bushes back to power from exile. Okay? That's what this whole thing was about. And luckily, recruiting is up. And it's not an army and military made up of transgender beauty queens anymore. It's like, real men and women. And they screwed up. And all President Trump did was point out what the penalties are for the crime of sedition. Didn't say anybody's name, didn't call anything specific, but they were very specific in what they were attempting to do, right? They were attempting to, somebody must have watched 7 Days in May over the weekend and said, oh, that sounds like a good idea, let's do it. Because that's exactly what they were trying to do, and everyone knows it. Now, I don't know about all of these people and their backgrounds, other than Mark Kelly, who's a retired U.S. naval captain, the astronaut, who left his common sense in outer space, I guess. And this may be true of the other veterans, the intelligence officers, I don't know. I think there should really be a federal law prohibiting naturalized U.S. citizens from holding any public office. And anyone that works for any intelligence agency should never be able to hold elected office. In my opinion, we need a law. It's not against the law, but I'd like to see a law on both of those things. But it is what it is. It is what it looks like it is. They made a mistake. And what's crazy is they're so insane. There was no one in their circle that said, hey, this is sedition. This is true. This is a bad idea. Maybe we shouldn't do this. It's because they're all in this Trump derangement syndrome bubble, and they're not thinking clearly. As an example, Dick Cheney's funeral was yesterday. I watched it for 30 seconds. Dick Cheney was a terrible person. I'm a supporter and the Wounded Warriors Foundation, right? My wife and I, we give to them every month. Not a lot, but we give to them every month and have for years. And you guys should too. They're great. Every time I see one of those commercials and I see a guy who is missing limbs or half of his body's melted. I saw one the other day. It just broke my heart. It was a guy. He was totally checked out. He, right out of high school, he joined the service, went off to, I don't know if it was Iraq or Afghanistan. He can't speak. He looks like he doesn't know where he's at. He's living with his elderly parents. He never was married, never had children. All those wounded warriors are in the condition they're in because of Dick Cheney and George W. Bush. You know, who are lying war criminals, who knowingly lied about WMDs in Iraq, and how many people are dead in the Middle East because of their lies. And no one was a bigger attack dog during their presidencies than Rachel Maddow. What the freak was Rachel Maddow doing at the Cheney funeral yesterday? It's because it's a bubble of Trump derangement syndrome sufferers conspiring. And it was a way for them to all meet in a way that wasn't, too out of the ordinary or obvious. And I'm not going to say the names, but there's been funerals of people I've known that I didn't go to because I didn't like the person, or I disapproved of the person, or I had some really strong issues with the person morally, and I didn't go to their funeral because I wouldn't do it. First off, it'd be disrespectful to their family. So I would not have gone to Dick Cheney's. They made a big deal that President Trump and J.D. Vance weren't invited to Dick Cheney's funeral. Do you really think the president wanted to go and honor that war criminal, Dick Cheney? I don't think so. I don't think so. But Rachel Maddow called Dick Cheney out every day of his vice presidency and beyond for the war criminal murderer he was. And there she is honoring him at his funeral? What is that about? That's crazy. I mean, that would be like Sean Hannity going to Margaret Sanger's funeral, you know? I mean, there's just certain people that you don't, that I wouldn't honor. Now, I got some news. I shared this, or my wife shared it with my Patreon supporters last night. I got some news about my podcast. My podcast is ranked 150th in the United States on the podcast charts, which I just found out yesterday, which really shocked me. You know how many podcasts there are? On Apple Podcast and Spotify alone, there's like 10 million podcasts on Spotify and Apple Podcast alone. And I'm at 150, which is, it blew my mind because I have no marketing except you guys sharing, the program. I have no corporate backing. I have no media backing. And that's 150th, going up against all these guys that have millions of dollars behind them in marketing and corporations, or they're famous movie stars and actors and stuff. And I know 150th might not sound like a big deal to a lot of people, but out of the millions of podcasts there are out there, when you're like totally alone like I am, I was like blown away by that when I found that out yesterday. I couldn't even believe it. My daughter was even impressed. She was like, oh my goodness. She says, everybody has a podcast. Every housewife has a podcast. You're 150. That's crazy, Dad. So that was exciting. So I want to thank all of you guys out there who follow me and listen to my podcast and share my podcast, because it's a word of mouth enterprise, and you guys are the word of mouth. And the last rankings I got a couple months back said I was in the top 1.5% of podcasts worldwide. So that's amazing. That means more than 98.5% of the others out there. The 150th ranking is U.S., 150th in the United States. And that's, by the way, that's the audio podcast on, on all the podcast platforms. Yeah. So, that just shocked the hell out of me yesterday. So that's a little bit of a thing for me to celebrate. Crazy. If you're new to my channel, make sure that you subscribe. But the main topic I'm going to lead with today is this video with the Congress people, because that was a total deep state operation. See, I've told you guys, they've given up on the lawfare and everything else. They're trying to destroy the movement, right? And this video is part of a larger plan, right? And I'm going to go through this in detail when I open up on the main show today. So you guys are getting the early preview. And this plot, this deep state plot, is more than just this video. It really began with, see, I told you yesterday, there's a story in Breitbart yesterday that says that the Bush family are planning to come back to take over the Republican Party after Trump's second term, right? So this new phase that they're in with the deep state to try to stop MAGA moving forward beyond Trump's second term, I'm going to mark the beginning of that, the assassination of Charlie Kirk. So we got the assassination of Charlie Kirk. This video is all part of this big plot, this big deep state plot and conspiracy. It starts with the assassination of Charlie Kirk. That's one. Then, which does a lot of damage to our movement. Now, and the second phase is Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes, who are both deep state guys, I don't care what anyone says, that are out to discredit and cause division inside the conservative MAGA base and influence pool. And there's a lot of things that have happened with all of that I've covered. I've been talking about this. Also, this Marjorie Taylor Greene nonsense going on this week is a part of it. Whatever they've done to get her to go nuts, this video, it's all a part of the same thing. It's all a part of the same scheme. It's not just this video. These are not isolated events. It's all one big deep state plot. This is the crap that they pull in other countries to cause politicians to fall from power. Now, those of you that are MAGA, do you agree with my theory on that? I think it's pretty obvious what's going on. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. On my next stream, I'll be live in the studio taking calls. Now I'm just sitting in my car in front of my house. I'm heading off to Starbucks to get some more coffee in a bit. Thank God it's Friday. But I'll be streaming and podcasting all weekend long. Yeah, it's so freaking obvious. By the way, you're going to hear me announce this a lot. Those of you that are going on our 10th annual MAGA cruise, if you've already made reservations, final payments are due. So make sure you call Ian early this morning. In fact, Ian's going to call in on the air sometime today to remind you. But if you could call Ian. He's going to be on the air at around 7:45. Call him before that if you want. Final payments are due if you've already made reservations on the cruise. So please call Ian and touch base with him on that. And if you want to join us on our MAGA cruise, I'll give out the number when I'm on the air because I don't have his office number memorized. But if you want to join us on our MAGA cruise, you call Ian from Cruise and Travel Depot as well, because just Google Cruise and Travel Depot, call Ian, and join us. To go on our MAGA cruise, you have to book through Ian, because the Black Friday specials are going to kick in with the cruise line next week. And we've got this 2019 pricing, which we're going to lose when those specials, those Black Friday specials come in. Cruise, did I say cruise? Hey, well, it's 4:36 in the morning. This is the first time I've spoken this morning. I've been up for like over 3 hours. Actually, that's not true. I just recorded 2 commercials for the radio station a little bit ago. I forgot about that. Oh, you would love our MAGA cruise, and this one's going to be a great one. This is our 10th annual MAGA cruise. We leave in March. I can't remember when in March, but it's in March. It's a lot of fun. I mean, this is, it's my yearly vacation, and you get to join me. Oh, yeah, we're going to San Juan, Puerto Rico, one of the Virgin Islands, and Puerto Plata, and we have some great things coming. I'm very excited. I love it. I love cruising. I'm just happy. I could just stay on the ship the whole time. I love the ships. But that's going to be the main topic today. I mean, this is just insane what's going on here. Everyone's talking about the video and what Trump said, but they're not talking about the wider plot and operation that's in play. So that's what I'm going to cover and take your calls. Plus, today is Friday already, so that's open phones. You can call in about any and everything on your mind on Friday's show. We call it Open MAGA Mike Friday. No, it's early in the morning, 4:37 in the morning. I've been up since about 1. a.m. So when I get off the air today, I'm going to take it easy, hopefully, today. It's been a very busy and hectic week for me. That's right. So no, I'm going to cover that. Take your calls on it. It's disgusting. They will never leave Trump alone. They will never leave him alone. They're going to harass him and his family for the rest of his life. You know, they'll never leave President Trump alone. And you know, when he if the Democrats are in power when he passes away in 50, 60, 70 years, they'll do everything they could do to not have a state funeral for him. Yeah, I got a lot to do today, but I will probably have a podcast this afternoon. So I got a long day ahead of me. Oh man, I tell you, it's just they'll never leave this guy alone because he is the first. There's been 2 presidents. One of them is Trump, that have not been a part of the political establishment. Does anyone know who the other one is? There was one other president who was not a part of the political establishment and got elected by accident. Do you know who it was? See if anybody in the chat knows. I've talked about this on my Patreon live stream, so Patreon people, don't answer. Nixon, Reagan and Nixon. No. Reagan was so establishment. You know, Reagan at the Republican convention in 1976. You know, Ford was president. Ford was only president 18 months, right? Never elected. And they were actually talking about at the 76 convention. Nobody's gotten it. They were talking about at the 76 convention to nominate Reagan for president and President Ford as vice president. No one. A lot of people said Eisenhower, Roosevelt, Ike. Ford, one person got it. That's correct. Garfield, President Garfield, was the only other president who was not a part of the political establishment, and he got elected quite by accident. And they did the same, and the establishment did the same thing to Garfield. They did to President Trump. They shot them both. That's right. Oh, you Google, that's cheating. Garfield is the only other president who was not a part of the political establishment of the time, and he got the nomination quite by accident. And once you got the Republican nomination in 1880, the Civil War was still fresh in people's minds. Democrats had no chance. So yeah, and they killed him. They shot him. And his vice president, Taft, was a establishment guy. They made him president. Washington, of course, was a part of the political establishment. How do you think he got the? He was arguably the richest man in the colonies. How do you think he got the command of the army? Of course, he was part of the establishment. If you're new to my channel, make sure that you subscribe. Are you kidding? He was one of the... He was the richest man in the colonies. Some people will deny that, but without question, he was in the top 3 richest men in the colonies. How do you think he got the job as general of the army? Of course, he was part of the establishment. So was Lincoln. They all were, except Garfield and Trump. Those are the only 2. Watch the first episode of that miniseries on Netflix about Garfield, and they show the Republican convention, and it's pretty accurate. Mm. 4:42 a.m. Yeah, very early. Well, 4:43 actually. Welcome everyone. My name is Brian. This is where MAGA talk, no doubt about that. But it is very nice to have Trump, isn't it? Oh. What's going to happen with Mom Donnie today with Trump? Is Mom Donnie going to try to show? You think Mom Donnie's nervous to meet with Trump? What do you guys think? Is Mom Donnie nervous, or is he so arrogant and full of himself he thinks he's going to play Trump? He's pretty arrogant. You know, he's the participation trophy generation. He knows he's great because his mommy told him so. Kamala, I've never seen someone laugh so hard at a funeral as Kamala was yesterday. Was she drunk again? She's probably pretty much always drunk when she's awake. She's probably got a gallon jug of wine or a box of wine next to her bed on her nightstand. Yeah, Pence, he looked pretty at home with all those snakes at the funeral, didn't he? Yesterday. I barely recognized Al Gore. I haven't seen him in a while. He said Peggy, not P. He said Peggy. Quiet Peggy. Quiet Peggy is what he said. I play that so much on the air, it's so obvious. Quiet Peggy. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. On my next stream, like I said, I'll be in the studio. You can call me and share your thoughts, whether you agree or disagree with what I say. You're all welcome to call in. And Friday is open phones. You can call in about any and everything on your mind. We call it Open MAGA Mike Friday. Open MAGA Mike Friday. But you don't have to be MAGA to call in, obviously. I'd like to know why a grown man talks about pedos so much. No, he said Peggy. He said quiet Peggy. And what do you care what people say? You just called me an asshole. So who are you to say that, people shouldn't be calling people names anyway? I mean, where are you on your moral high horse? But he did say Peggy. If he said Piggy, I wouldn't care. Really. No MAGA people would. But he didn't. He said Peggy. If he said Piggy, I would tell you. I don't care. Well, it's the liberals are obviously unglued because we're winning. The job numbers are out. Over 2 million jobs created in the second term already. Trump's doing a great job. Well, you don't interrupt the President of the United States, Peggy. That's right. Let's go, Brandon. Peggy. If you go back and listen to it, it said, if the media told you it was Piggy. So when you first hear it, you might think you heard Piggy because the media convinced you. But if you go back and listen, he says, quiet Peggy, quiet Peggy. Go back and listen to it. Maybe I'll play it again on the live stream when I'm in the studio later. I've been playing it the last couple days. Quiet Peggy. Yeah, it's subliminal messaging. It's a mind trick. And it works on the simple-minded, which are the liberally impaired. Poor Donald, he's president of the United States, dodged a speeding bullet. He's a billionaire, married to an international supermodel. If that's poor Donald, please. We should all be so poor to worth billions of dollars and dodge speeding bullets, right? All right. Starbucks will be opening soon, so I'm going to engage dark MAGA mode for the drive. All right, dark MAGA mode is engaged. All right, here we go. My name's Brian. If you're new, this is where MAGA comes to talk. So I want to talk about this big deep state psyop that's going on with the congressman's video and how it relates to the Charlie Kirk assassination and everything, because it's people are losing context with everything. Make sure you subscribe. If you're new, you will not want to miss my morning show in the studio. This is the dead of winter in Florida. It's like 60-something degrees. Yes, dark MAGA mode is engaged. Here we go. All this winning is awesome. It really, truly is. You know how Trump handles Mamdani? It's an unknown. He's always a gentleman. He maybe just decide to Be nice to him and everything else. Let Mom Donnie be Mom Donnie, and he'll screw up. He's never done anything in his life. Mommy and Daddy have bought everything for him in his life. He's never accomplished anything, never held a job. If you let Mom Donnie be Mom Donnie, everybody will see how bad he is. Starbucks opens at 5, thankfully. All the Starbucks in this area open at 5 a.m. I wish they were open 24 hours. I don't know why they're not. Don't you think Starbucks should be open 24 hours? Oh my goodness, they'd make so much freaking money. At least the drive-thrus. Let me ask you, how many years has it been since you've been to a movie theater? I have not been to a movie theater, I don't know how long. 5 years, 6 years, 8 years. I cannot remember the last movie I saw in a theater. And I was thinking about making a vlog from my other channel going to a movie. And I looked at the movies that were playing, and it's crap. I'm not going to go see that Wicked with those two weirdos in it. Ariana Grande and the other girl, I mean, they just look like they're on some hardcore drugs with some ecstasy and Ozempic and everything in between. I don't know what's up with those two lunatics. And the movies are too long. I mean, I thought, well, maybe I could stomach Running Man. But that's got to suck too. Yeah, I cannot remember the last time I was at a movie theater. I just can't remember. Years, 15 years, holy smokes. Friendliest hometown, where's that, William Rizzo? No, I cannot remember the last time I was in a movie theater. It's been that long. It's been before the lockdowns. It's been a long time. Yeah. 2025 Predator? I'm Predatored out. I saw the original Predator in the theater, which, was Schwarzenegger, the original. And then I saw Predator 2 with Danny Glover in the theater. That was enough Predator for me. Right? I might watch over the weekend this BS Revolution thing on the American Revolution. Everything I've been hearing from people that have seen it, I just haven't had a chance to watch it yet, is it's liberal revisionist history, which I expected. But I might watch it over the weekend and report back on it. I don't know if I could stomach it. I saw Ken Burns on a television interview a couple months back. And they did a wide shot. He was sitting in a chair, and he didn't have any shoes on. He was wearing socks, and his feet were like 10 inches off the ground, off the floor. I didn't realize it was so bizarre. It was like a child. Kim Burns is a liberal jerk. He really is. And I think this was a version of American history, probably based on, the DEI wokesters winning the election, not Americans winning, right? So today is Friday on the program, so that means open phones, open MAGA Mike Friday. The show prep is up to you guys. On Friday's show, you can call me about any and everything on your mind, not just the topics I bring up. You don't have to mention the topics I bring up, and exclusive on Friday's program, so make sure you subscribe, and that stream will be like in about 30 minutes or so. I'm going to get my coffee, head back to the studio, and start the show. So make sure you subscribe, click that notification bell, and I'll see you